Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Fathers of Tabletop, where I am proud to bring you my contributions to Mapvember. Now, this is something that I've seen in the Facebook group Absolute Tabletop that I belong to, and for those of you who aren't part of Absolute Tabletop, I definitely recommend that you join. Lots of useful information. The team themselves, they produce high-quality material. Something to be envious of, honestly. But the good news is when you're there, you learn. You learn a lot. And they participate in Inktober and seeing all of the beautiful drawings that some of our talented people have made. I could never sketch or draw. That's not my talent. But I can Photoshop like no one's business. So Mapvember is something I'm very excited for. But anytime people see a cool map on Mapvember, the first thing they say is, how was it done? I want to do this. I'm going to show you guys my tricks to making a quick map that is high quality and relatively simple. But I'm going to go step by step of the way so that you could follow along and find out for yourself. So the first thing is, what will you need to follow along? I use Photoshop. Now, you can use GIMP and other image manipulation programs. There's no problem with that. However, to get the most out of this tutorial, I do use the Creative Cloud version of Adobe Photoshop. So if you have that, great, follow along. If you have GIMP instead and know it pretty well, then when I use some of the terminology that I use, you'll know how to replicate what I'm doing. But more importantly is your brain. Everyone operates differently when it comes to map creation. Some people like to start with giant continents and work your way in. Mountains, forests, rivers, then towns, then governments, etc. Some people prefer to start smaller and work your way out. This is especially popular in the hex map generations that I've seen, where people focus on an area, here's the kingdom, here's all the outlying areas, and then they can expand upon it as time goes on. And I love those because of how much detail they have. But I am personally a fan of those old Middle-earth style hand-drawn maps, so I try to make mine look like it was hand-drawn, but put a little bit of a digital pizzazz so that it stands out from a lot of the other hand-drawn maps that you might see. And again, what I'm about to show you is easy, and replicate away. In fact, comment on this Facebook post. I want to see the maps you create using this technique. So let's move on. The first step that you want to do is just Google research, all right? If you have Photoshop, it uses brushes, which is the ABR files. And what I do is I go to Google and hit Fantasy Map Photoshop Brushes. Now you can check on the images there, and usually when you go to the image in the Google Images, if you hit Visit Page, it'll take you to where you can download it, which is super handy. But also gives you a good idea of where you can go. If you go to DeviantArt, like the Cartography Guild, you can see a lot of the work there that people put up. Please pay attention to the licensing, all right? If you're planning on making money off the product, make sure it all fits. If you're planning on producing a product at all and sharing it, make sure it all fits, and that you have all of the licensing and copyright information filed out. But I want to show my utmost respect to all of these artists. Like I said, I cannot sketch, and a lot of the brushes that I find are sketches. So credit your artists, please. That being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting down below the list of the brushes that I've used in this video so that you guys are well aware and well informed. Moving on. Once you search Fantasy Map Photoshop brushes, you're also going to want to search for Landmass brushes. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So this is the map that I made for Honor for the Fallen. And this isn't the final copy. This is like my dream, right? I definitely want to eventually hire somebody to do a better quality map for my setting, but this is a really good placeholder. And even though I had sort of slapped this together, a part of me looked at it and said, dang, I really, really like that. That turned out really good. And the technique maybe took a total of an hour and a half, 2 hours. So this is a very quick map technique. This might be a long video, but I definitely want to show you everything I can. I'll try to edit out the boring stuff. So that's a landmass brush. And to give you an idea, if you click right over here on the brush, and then I go up here, I've got a bunch of stuff that I've downloaded from various packs. So all the way towards the bottom, I've got the continent brushes. And you'll have to excuse me, I'm suffering from allergies, so my nose is super, super stuffy. I might have to use nasal spray halfway through the video, so you'll have to just pardon that. I might edit that out. Who knows? I try not to edit very much in my creative process because I tend to ramble, but the rambling is how I come up with my great ideas. And it's just part of who I am. So here's my continent brushes, all these little shapes here. You can click on one and they're pre-generated. Now, that does not limit your creativity. It's not that all your maps are going to look very similar, because you can put these brushes together to create unique shapes, which is what we're going to be doing today. So these are landmass brushes. Definitely go and check them out, download them. You find them very much the same way that you find any of the other brush kits that I had you Googling. So this is something I was looking at, but that's not really my style. I kind of like the hand-drawn on parchment look. If I add color, I want it to be a little more abstract instead of literal. So, the first thing I want to do is, I think this map that we're going to make today is going to be in celebration of the, oops, I'm going to punch my mic, of the Tomb of Annihilation. So I'm going to create an unknown island hidden in the mist off the coast of Schult. My advice to anybody who wants to get into campaign writing is start writing supplements for a supplement that you like. So with Tomb of Annihilation, it's really easy to create an island in that world with that map and have your own quests if you don't want to go through the Tomb of Annihilation chain. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put jungle font. As you can see, I was trying to look earlier and see if I could find something cool to use on a map that kind of looks like, I don't know, handwriting. These are font space. I don't mind font space. I prefer DeFont. You know, they have a lot of options here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's put jungle font. Let's just search jungle, right? This is going to show us everything that they have on file under jungle. Jungle Fever, I like that one. That one's easy to read. I like Jungle Juice. That one's like handwriting. I really like that one. So let's just download that. I think that's the one that we're going to use. And show in folder. Now, some of you may already know how to do this. I have 7-zip. I'm going to extract this folder to a normal folder. Scroll all the way to the top where it should be located, Jungle Juice. There it is. This is a font file. True type font file. All right. If you find any font that you want to use in any kind of photo editing software, you just copy this, go over here to this PC, C drive, Windows, fonts. As you can see, I've got a lot of fonts. I collect a lot. Paste. Done. Jungle Juice. All right. And Juice, if you're watching, I partially chose it because of your name. I know, I'm a nerd. What can I say? We're going to come back to this area now. We've got our font. Let's create a map. And I play with my maps displayed on a flat screen TV in my game room. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to New. We're going to create a 1920 by 1080, 600 resolution. Now, 600 pixels per inch will make the image pretty big, but this should be just fine. We're going to call it Untitled for now. Here's our layer. Excellent. Now, when they're drawing on the maps, cartographers, they're going to be drawn on parchment. So I went ahead and grabbed a parchment texture. All right. So let's get the parchment up here. I've got it actually here in pictures. And images from Millionaire Wallpaper, we will do that one. There we go. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on moving materials around. And I don't know how to do this on GIMP, so I'm just going to use Photoshop short hotkeys for you guys. There's lots of ways you can copy this. You can unlock the area, select all, copy, go to the other side and hit paste, okay? But they have a shortcut to help you out. If you go to the top left here, when you have the 4-way directionals, all you have to do is hold Shift and Alt until those 2 little arrows pop up. Left click, drag. Boom. We're done. That's it. Now, we need to do some organization on our project because it's going to get messy. So we're going to need a group that we're going to call World. All right? That's where we're going to put everything. Let's drag our parchment into World. So here's our parchment. Now, let's call this side Land. Okay? Let's recreate this. And we'll call this side Ocean. Now, one of the things that you could do is click on Ocean here on the right. Go up to the top where it says Image. Adjustments, Hue Saturation. Click Colorize. Now that it's colorized, we can do whatever we want. We could change the color, but this is in case you want a colored map. So if you want to like an ocean, there you go. There's an ocean color. And we're going to play around with colors later. But the main thing I wanted to show you first is just when you want to do this, you can go to Hue Saturation, take the lightness down a bit to create a difference. Grab this land layer and put it on top. Now, I want to do an island on Schult, or next to Schult. You know what I mean? A pirate's retreat of sorts. So let's go to our paintbrush here. And in our paintbrush, we're going to select black, right? This is, you'll understand why in a moment. Go down to our continents here. Now, I want to create an island. So I'm going to put here, island template, right? This is going to be a temporary file. So go up here and select your the landmass shape or continent or whatever you're working on. I'm going to be doing an island. Let's choose this rough shape. You know, I like the idea that it's going to be a big island, right? Nope, needs to be bigger than that. That's too big. Okay. So probably right around 28. Oh yeah, you know what? It's just easier to do this. There we go. This is the rough shape. Now, once I put this down, you're going to think, you know, James, that's not really... actually, you know what? Let's go a little bigger. Let's do 3,200. How about that? No, it doesn't like... Is it because 3,000 is how much bigger? Let's try that. Not 300. 3,000. We're going to play around with this brush until we get the size right. There we go. I'm happy with that size. So I'll put a compass rose here in the lower left, maybe even the title. But for now, let's paint this. There we go. We got the start of our land. Let's go back to the brush real quick. I kind of want the land to taper off to the top. Let's select this one. And let's make it bigger. Let's try 900. That's more of what I'm looking at, right? Let's lower it. Boom. Okay, I like the shape of this island so far. With this, we can go in here. Archipelagios are one of my favorite things, so I think I'm going to put that down. I want lots of little tiny islands. So we'll move the size down. You could rotate like so. And I think I'm going to rotate a little bit with this one. Bingo. All right, that's pretty cool, right? And let's see, is there any kind of details we want? I like looking at these because this is kind of a generic, smoother shape than what I was intending. To see if there's any of these that I can just use to break this monotony up a little bit. Maybe up here. I think that's what's bugging me, is that the top looks a little too plain. Now, it's okay to have plain. There's nothing wrong with that. Land masses aren't exactly, you know, designed to be cool. But we could make this one a little cooler. Maybe even give it some interesting features. Yeah. There we go. I don't know if I like that, because I love the roundness of this. So let's go back in here. We're going to reduce the size to about 1000. We're going to rotate this. I'm thinking more to where it benefits the back. Let's see. Here we go. This makes a little more sense, right? Just go over here, click. Now we made it a little more interesting. This is looking doable. I like this. Okay, here's the trick. It kind of looks like a dog barking so violently that spittle is coming out of its mouth, like a little pit bull. I'm weird. All right. We're gonna select our wand here because we need to select this and this by holding shift, and this we're gonna go and zoom in, and this. Make sure we get all the important pieces. Yep, I think that's good. But here's the trick. Now that we have the wand selected, all right, we need to go down to the land area and hit Edit, Cut. Create a new layer. Edit, Paste. Now, what I want to do is I want to take this new layer and I want to line it up. So we're going to go put it right back where it belongs. See how it snapped? Very easy. We're going to call this Islands, because now our template is done. We delete the island template, we delete the land layer, and this is what you get. Look at that magic. What I'm going to do is I see the coloration in this, and Cholt is a jungle area, so I think for this map, instead of going with the classical parchment like this, we're going to have some fun and color it. So let's go to the adjustments here. I've got the ocean layer selected. We're going to go hue, saturation, and we're going to colorize. We'll move up to right around here, I think. Yeah. You can up the saturation. That makes the colors a little more vibrant. It is the tropics, so let's have some brighter, more badass water. Yeah, like that. That looks good. Click on the island. And since this is a jungle, I mean, it's going to be green. So again, image, adjustments, hue, saturation, colorize. We're going to go into the greens here. But you know what? I kind of want a jungle green, like something, yeah, something super, super dark. Well, maybe not super dark. I think I can use some effects. Start out with like this. And we're going to play around with some effects to make this pop. So the first thing we'll do with this is select all. Nope, not select all. We're going to do the same thing we did before. Grab, 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 grab. Oh. Oh, it's going to do that, huh? It's going to do that to me. Okay. So we grabbed all that we see. There we go. Nothing else out of the ordinary. We're going to go down to this layer where it says ocean, and we're going to go edit, cut. There. There's a reason for this. We're going to click on ocean, and one of my favorite effects is the inner shadow. So let's play with inner shadow a little bit. Boom. Do you see that pop? Right on the edges. Let's play around. How about the distance? Okay. Okay. That's from... I prefer something... maybe the choke needs to go up. There it is. It's the size, right? Because I want it to be a little blurry because it's a map. There we go. Very simply done. All right. Now let's go ahead and bring in the compass rose. I just found a generic one. I kind of like it. It looks generic. I'm okay with that. We're going to drag it in. Pop it to the top layer. Above world. Okay? The world map, we're pretty much done for now. You know, I might do an inner shadow for the island. No. No. I might do a drop shadow for the island. And then maybe change... No, not use. Edit. Oh, well, that's fine. We could play around with this. Just to make sure. There we go. I did the drop shadow from the island pointing up. The shadow from the map itself pointing down. So we now have a healthy shadow around the entire continent. We'll minimize that. We'll go into layer 2. We're going to drag this over here. Now, I do want to colorize this. Because they did make these maps with color, or if they had these maps, I would imagine they would make them with color if they had the choice. Medieval paintings, for example, a lot of that stuff was so vibrantly colored. Hue saturation, colorize, I think red. I think they would have, well, maybe not red. Maybe, yeah. Let's darken this a little bit. Maybe change the saturation down. Okay. So we have our little compass rose here. If we view to 100%, it looks pretty good. See how choppy it looks? There is an easy way to fix that, I'm sure. But I like to do it like this. Drop shadow looks nice. Inner glow is a bad idea. I don't like that at all. Let's see. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of rad. How about bevel? Pillow emboss, stroke emboss. Yeah, I'm thinking inner bevel. Outer bevel, maybe? No. Highlight mode. Let's make this one. I don't like it. It makes it look too metal. You know what? I know what I'm going to do. View, zoom out. Among my mini brushes, which I'm going to go to the eraser tool for, I've got some pretty sick ink splotches, coffee spills, blood splatters, and they've come in handy. Oh, I need to organize this. Actually, the funny thing is I know where everything is. I know where they're after. It's almost not worth it to rearrange it when I'm so comfortable with everything, as I'm struggling to find this, and I am stalling by increasing the pitch of my voice. Alright, let's make the opacity 30%, 33%. We'll make it 33, right? And we'll do this. And then that. Alright, it just kind of fogs it over so that some of the blue comes through, but it doesn't just all have the same thickness. See, it looks splotchy. Looks splotchy out here. splotchy in here. It kind of looks faded. I like that. Now, I kind of wanted to see what the drop shadow would look like now. Yeah, let's reduce this. It's funny how the further away it gets clearer. There we go. Now that looks good. I don't know why I spend so much time on it, but there you have it, folks. Okay, next up, I like to name my islands. I think I'm going to put... I think I'm going to move this, right, to shrink it and move it up to here. There's the compass rose. I want the name of the map to be fairly large. So this is a pirating island, but I don't really think that the pirates would call it like, "Arg, welcome to Pirate Bay." I really don't see the pirates doing that. They'd probably name it something with some meaning to them. I think it was Jungle Juice is what we downloaded earlier, if I recall right. There we go, Jungle Juice. Okay. Let's make the font a little bit bigger than 3-point. You could tell I was working on other projects. Let's go to 16. Yeah, okay. Let's start off with white first. Hello. Dang, that looks good. All right. What are we going to call this?
One eternity later.
We may have to come up with that. Island title. Right? Island title. I kind of want it to be bigger. I'm not gonna lie. There we go. Island title. Perfect. We're going to hit Control J because we're going to copy this. In fact, yeah, let's copy this. Oh, I have to hit Enter to finish the sizing. So in Photoshop, Control J copies. And we're going to swap over. I think I'm going to pick a maroon color. Something like that, right? And we're going to highlight this, paint it the maroon color. Bam. That looks good. That looks good. On the lower layer, we'll pop a drop shadow. I kind of want the angle to go this way. We're going to make the distance, right? Move the spread up a little bit, not too much, and then increase the size. And it looks like the spread might be a little too off. There we go. That basically matches the shape or the shade of the other shadows in this little map. So that's our island title, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and just group these together. I'm liking the colors. I don't normally do this with colors, so it's a lot of fun. There we go. Merge layers. So, here we go. Let's talk about some other things, maybe some assets that you can get that aren't necessarily brushes. So we're going to go to File and Open. Let's start with mountains. I've got brushes with mountains on it. Paintbrush right there. Now, there's multiple mountain sets you can get. This right here is a mountain brush. That's right, we're painting on the island, right? You could do something cool like, oh, I don't know, let's select gray, right? You can go gray, and you can do some pretty rad, like, mountain texturing. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, I don't. I know you're not supposed to do it in that crazy manner, but I was never a big fan of brushing in the textures. Maybe it's because oh, there we go. I gotta resaturate this again. Yeah. Alright. You could do it that way, but I prefer the hand-drawn approach. These mountains look actually pretty cool. So, is there a volcano? Because that would be pretty rad. I would think the pirates would go to a place with a volcano not knowing the risk. Okay, I'm not seeing one, but that's okay because I really love abstract ideas. I'm gonna get this one right here, this spire, right? And we're actually gonna make its own layer because we're gonna do some modeling around it. So we'll call this spire, right? So in the middle of the island is this towering structure, and I think we're gonna go with black and just right. And since we have that as separate, we're gonna create another one. Oops, that's a group. We're gonna go down here, create another layer. We're gonna call this layer mountains, right? Mountains. Bingo. Now for the mountains, let's grab this brush, and then we're just gonna paint some mountain ranges on there. And the mountain ranges I like to use are up here. Let's say that there's a mountain range around this. I think that's pretty cool. Look at that. It's coming together, people. It's coming together. I can imagine like a belt of mountains going around. So let's make this merge a little bit. Maybe put a cluster up here. Right? Kind of looks cool. And then we'll do this downsloping arc here. No. Or we can match some of the peaks and do that. Here we go. Let's do this. All right. So in order to make that look good, we're going to need to erase some of this layer. I want to plant it right there. So we're going to erase all those little mountains heading up to it. Oh, the landmass is still selected. There we go. Lower the size. I want to get rid of... What? Oh. Well, I should probably change that. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and paint. Just. Bam. Okay, so we've got some mountain ranges. Let's distance the spire a little bit away from them. Kind of like here. Then we're going to use the eraser, and let's do a soft eraser on this, and we'll... Because there's a jungle leading up to this spire. Now, that was with brushes. You can also get pictures, which was provided by this one. These are hand-drawn for us, and they are so cool. And again, I'm going to put the links down below where I got all this stuff. So, let's select some of this. Oh. Well, I could have just done that. So I'm going to open that. Then I'm going to go back to Spire. I'm going to delete Spire because I don't need it anymore. Hand-drawn forest. Yes, please. Again, shift and alt. Makes the two arrows come up. Drag it. Drop it. Boom. So this is kind of light. We could fix that. There we go. We're going to put above the mountain layer. We're going to Control J, Control J, Control J. That did not help. So I think what we're going to have to... Well, actually, it looked like it did a little bit. We're going to have to make this stand out. So let's see about adding stroke, because it is a sketch. Making the stroke... Oh, ew. There we go. So I did an inside stroke, normal blend, pumped it up to 100%, then hit OK. Now it is the darkness that I need. In fact, now that we got it where I wanted, let's make it a little bigger, now that it's the same shade. And due to perspective of my idea of where the map drawer is standing, I'm going to erase these trees because there's mountains in front of them. Just like that. But on the mountain side, I'm going to erase everything that's touching these forests. Right? So the forests come around. They come over here. And these are the Cholt jungles. Right? There we go. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty decent. I like it. I like it. Okay. So it is Cholt, so I imagine there's going to be jungles elsewhere. But before we do anything, one of the coolest things that we can do on this island is take our paintbrush, take our eraser. That's what we'll do. I deeply regret deleting the ocean end of that, because I could have made some pretty cool lakes. So we're going to fix that. And then we're going to move. We're actually going to disable that. No, not that one. Sorry. Disable this one. Let's make this invisible. And then we'll move this, you know, here. Because I want to make some lakes. There we go. Sorry. That was silly of me. We're going to come up here. Let's go down. This is how I create lakes. It's super easy. We're going to go find the landmasses again. There they are. Let's make... That's a good size lake. Kind of like a body of lakes. Ooh, you know what? This is this area right up here is probably going to be pretty marshy. And since it's marshy, I want some bodies of water. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Then we'll rotate. Go to island. And there. Of course, when we do that, the island is going to create... Did we say no inner shadow on the island? How about we adjust this? No inner shadow. It looks really bad. Looks really, really bad. There we go. Now let's do another lake system. Ooh, here we go. This is just like 3 blob lakes. Now, if I make this a larger map... There we go. There's some lakes there. If I decided to make this a larger map, I could definitely zoom in close on some of the areas. But for what we're doing today, we're just going to go ahead and continue on. Yeah. I'm going to exit out of these things that I do not need anymore. We already have the compass rose. We've already got the parchment. So file open. Let's get some more forests in here. This is a jungle environment. I could do something with that one. Open. Plop. All right, now I'm going to pop this to the top. And we're going to move it from the middle here, and we're going to put it... Yeah, we're going to put it right here. But as you can see, let's adjust it so it fits our landmass a little more. Press enter. Move it up. And I'm not going to try to, like, erase around that island. I think it's cool to say that, or that lake, that it's inside this jungle area here. So let's add a stroke to this. Stroke. Dunzo. Next up, let's exit out of this. I don't think we really need to worry about that anymore. Open. Let's choose another batch. Ooh, this is a pretty thick jungle that we can do. Pop that there. This is a big one too. So we're going to shrink this one down. Press enter. Move it here. Effects. Stroke. Boom. Look at our map. It's starting to come to. All right. I like this. It's very, I mean, once you view it at 100%, it's even better. What does this look like with the drop shadow? Ooh. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Let's, hey, network. Let's add a drop shadow to this one. Okay, it does not look good on the mountains. Well, let's play with it. You know, we had to play with the other one, right? Actually, first, let's add a drop shadow to this. See, why is it doing that? The drop shadow for layer 5 is 5, 5, 5, and 7. 5, 5, 5, and 7. 5, 5, and 7. There we go. Let's do one on this guy. 5, 5, and 7. It's just enough to give it a little more of a penciled-in depth. The mountains, though, I don't know if I'm going to keep them. Because that looks pretty stupid. Lowering the size doesn't help. Lowering the opacity might. Okay. I like it. That's good. Alright, so that's how you do those. Some of the other ones that we have, you know, we've got lakes over here, so let's have some fun with that area, and show you some of the symbols that I have. So, I've gotten these symbols from various people, and like I said, I will definitely, get those links out there. Here we go. This one, right? This right here is one of my favorites. It's swamp. You know, this is... Be careful, there's lakes here, but... Also just... So happens to be pretty damn swampy there. This isn't a big island, probably. I would imagine not very many cities. But we're definitely going to put a city in there. That's pretty cool. Let's scroll up. I don't think there's really much hill in the I don't think there is much in the terms of hills. We could probably put another mountain range in. Twist the angle just a little bit right here. Maybe we should add a stroke to it. Yeah, actually, I can see it a lot better now. And anything else that's fun? I'm not really seeing anything that screams out to me. Now, Grant, I would put a lot more detail into this, but for the sake of the tutorial, I think we're just going to continue on. The next step that I would go over is rivers. You know, there's probably going to be a lot of rivers over here. So let's choose the rivers with our eraser. And they should be somewhere around here, because these are my sketches of the mountains. Here we go. Let's choose this one. There's probably a river going through the swampy area and coming from the mountains. So, since it's coming, I like to draw that, you know, the shorter piece looks like it's actually coming from the mountains. We'll spin this around. There we go. That makes sense. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Now this is an eraser tool. So when I click on the island to do the erasing, because that's where I want the eraser, you can kind of see how that works. But I'm going to show you again. So this looks good. All right. I think I am actually going to start it right at the mountains. So maybe a little bit smaller. Or maybe it's the orientation. Maybe this one just looks better. Kind of like this. Yeah. Ooh, there we go. That's a cool one. We'd say that there's a forked stream that comes from the forest. Yes. So, when I do this, I'm going to click erase on the island. Here's what it does. Okay. Now, if we were to go underneath to the ocean copy and do it again, and then move it to cover up my boo-boo. There we go. We have our river. So that's one way to do rivers. Obviously, you don't have to have it super thick. Nope, I don't want to save. You can actually just come to the eraser tool and make a super thin one. Like so. Right? I just did a single click there. That's all I did. Recreate our ocean layer. Let's move it over again. You know, that makes sense. Okay? That makes sense. Go back to our eraser tool. We're going to do it one more time. I erased the wrong layer. We're going to do it one more time. Oh, man. This tutorial would go by so much quicker. Okay, so there you go. Simple tools that you can use, brushes, anything that you want to get it. Now, something I like to do with this, we could just go to the paintbrush, because we're going to paint this on. We're going to create a layer called roads. Again, if this were a project that I was actually working on completing, then I would be organizing this much better. This is just to show you some ideas and basics. Roads are probably going to be like little dirt paths. I want it to be visible, that's for sure. Right. Here we go. This is my favorite thing to do, because it's so random. Yeah, that's probably more like it. I already did that. As you can see, I have a few of these. So, you want to try to guess trade routes or whatever and try to make a path. Let's do it here. Right? And then take your eraser. Select the regular eraser all the way up at the top. Make the pixel size relatively small. Not that small. And, you know, clean it up. So I'm going to clean up here. I'm going to clean up here. Where it goes into the forest, I'm actually going to erase for the jungle. The jungles are dangerous. So if a road goes into a jungle, I'm going to erase it. If it's out of the jungle, it'll be fine. Just give the party, the parties that are playing choices. Do we go into the jungle where it's most likely shorter if we could follow the trail? Or do we go around and take the dirt road? Now, I erased a lot of that dirt road because I don't want the players to know too much about it. Right? So let's erase this. And we're just going to move it a little bit here. There we go. There we go. Grab our eraser again. Okay. So we got some roads. And we could put settlements along these roads. So let's zoom in. If you want to do a settlement, it's super easy to do. You just scroll up. I go through my paintbrush kit here. And okay, so small settlements, you know. Let's make these let's see. What color should I make these? Probably just white, right? And we'll change the size here. You know what? There's 2 roads going there, so that benefits a city because they're getting trade from 2 parts of the island, and that's way too big. So the cities are going to be a little larger, and they're going to attract more attention. So, right? When you zoom out to 100%, it actually looks pretty legitimate. I would think that there wouldn't be a whole lot of big cities, but you know, you'd want to plan out where you're going to put your buildings. This right here would probably have a big city just because it's right next to a fork in the river and cities tend to thrive there. Maybe this is just a little town. So you could populate your area. You can also use symbols. So let's say we want to put a lighthouse on one of those islands. Let's find a symbol that makes a cool lighthouse. I don't know. Here we go. That works. Let's make that smaller. Yeah, a little bit bigger because we want people to see. Oh, hey, that's a tower. Undo brush tool. Let's make it. Oh, that's kind of cool. Make it a little smaller, I think. I think it does need to be smaller. Not that small, jeez. There we go. Little sketches of a tower. Since we're here, we can actually continue going through here at some of these pictures. We could say that there's mining, you know. Maybe this right up here is a big dwarven mine. Right? Maybe there's a few spots where there's some mines in this jungle area. I would imagine ore is one of the attractions that bring people. If If you want to use symbols, you can. I find that too many symbols detract from the simplicity of the map, for sure. But for important things, I will definitely use them. Some of these, like the skulls, I don't really see those as being too important. Oh, here's one. This would be useful. Yeah, ruins, right? You could pop these bad boys anywhere it makes sense to have some ruins. So you don't have to make your icons white, but I think I am just because they're easier to see. And you can make your own legend when you do stuff like this. What else should I do? Ooh, castles, you know. If a capital has a castle, this one probably would. Right? That's pretty cool. That's kind of a sick little tower. Should have done that one instead. Rats! But you get the idea. I'm just going through here and I'm finding things that I think are interesting that will help out with envisioning the map. But now that we've done that, let's go back to the text. We still have Jungle Juice on. So let's make the font smaller. And we're going to call this... Actually, let's do this. We'll call this one right up here. There we are. Smuggler's Cove. Or something like that, you know. Raven's Reach. I like Raven's Reach. That's obviously way too big, but Raven's Reach, right? We're going to highlight that. Let's make it much smaller. 9. Boom. Move it over. Still a bit too big. At least for cities. Boom. Move it up. Raven's Reach. Now you could keep it white, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. Or you can fiddle with it. Make it your own. You can add shadows to it. You could do a double layer like I did over here. For this instance, we're just going to keep it white. Hit Control J, grab it again, bring it up here. Let's call this one... What? I don't know why it changed. Spider Thick... Spider Thick Labyrinth, you know. I'd imagine a lot of these names would be code, or I was going to try to do some cool spacing on that, but I think it's better like this. Spider Thick Labyrinth, you know. This one right here could be Dolem's Peak, right? I am not entirely sure, but why it did that, but it's supposed to be 6. Dolan's Peak. All right. Control J. Then we can move this around. Marsh. What should be in this marsh? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Mutineer's Marsh, right? This is pirate themed. It's okay to have a pirate name. And then this one right here could be Fort. I would imagine it would be named after somebody. So maybe the commander of the place. Let's say his name's Locke. Fort Locke. There we go. Small villages, you know, you can name them whatever you want. I would imagine this would be something like, you could even just call it village, but I'm trying to think of last names that would be interesting. Anders Village. They'll probably have different names, like something Thrupp, something Hamlet. It gives the readers kind of an idea. And you could even do things like shrinking it down. But you get the idea. In a very short amount of time, we've created a map that looks pretty darn good. It has character. It's simple. It looks like it was drawn. It's got color. You know, you saw my original one, and all we used was a bunch of brushes, some images, and our imaginations. And I'm sure you could definitely do something very similar in your project if you're working with GIMP or another photo editor. But for now, this is Jarl of Goats. It's late. I've worked on this a long time, this video, but hopefully I gave you guys some ideas on what you could do to make some pretty awesome maps. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more of me just farting around and creating, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you see this for Mapvember, I would like to see some of the creations you guys come up with using similar techniques. Until next time, bye-bye.